Good morning. I want to take some time and do some active channeling because I want to share kind of the process that I go through to get guidance. And I also am very aware that my words have power. And this is something that I don't necessarily talk a lot about in my content, but it is a foundational point of my content that our words have power. And it's a program I'm working on called Use Your Words. And because I love that phrase, because I used it as a parent, and I know my parents used it on me, and it's so, I mean, even Daniel has a song about it, and Daniel Tiger, but it's so empowering, at the same time very limiting, because if you don't have words for the feelings that you're feeling, especially as a kid, or if you're neurodivergent, or you're nonverbal, or you just don't have that vocabulary, using your words is really hard. And we know scientifically that when we are in a place of not heart connection and very much overwhelm in our brain space, that finding the words is very hard. Like your brain just doesn't have the energy, the tabs, the highways to get that information out. So, because from an anatomical perspective and a physiological, whichever you want to call your brain, there are two parts of your brain to use with communication. There's the part of your brain that tells, works out what you want to say. And then there's a part of your brain that tells your mouth what to say and how to say it. And you can know what you want to say, and your mouth can know how to make that thing come out. But if those two aren't talking clearly, the words aren't coming out. So, one of the things I've been struggling with is my youngest has discovered autonomy, extreme adventure, extreme autonomy, expecting all things to just run amok. And from a parenting perspective, I get very nervous and anxious about that because I'm asking for safety, I'm asking for order, I'm asking for sanity, I'm asking for them to stay near me, when I expect them to be near me, or stay in the space that I've asked them to stay, things like that. So when I have described my child lately, I have not done myself any favors by describing them as feral. And I realize that is not said in a kind way, but it is also before I had kids, I heard people talk about having feral children. And I was like, oh my God, how could you have feral children? How did you just let them run amok and make messes and just scream and frolic in their feral ways? And now I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, let's do that. Feral children. But there has to be that dance of working together. So I trust that she is safe. I trust that she has an inner guidance system that gives her what she's asking for. I also am asking for the sanity and the safety, that she is playing with things in a safe way, that she is doing things in a safe way, that she is somewhere where I can see that she is being safe. Those types of things. So there's a dance going on. And when she's not putting the thing down, coming when I call for her, leaving her sister's stuff alone, things like that, it glitches me out. But also I have to dance this dance of, am I doing control? How frustrated am I when I start? Am I speaking to her from a place of love? Am I speaking to her from a place of understanding her autonomy and asking her to stay autonomous, but also let's work together? Because so much of our programming from a parenting perspective, from a female perspective, is that we have to give of ourselves. We have to give up part of who we are to satisfy someone else, to be a good person, to meet the standards that are set for us. So some people call it divorcing yourself. Some people calling it, masking. and you start to become this idea that is not you, so that someone else is happy, and then you get the thing that you want. You get the gold star, you get the kudos, you get the snuggles, you get the proper treatment, depending on, you know, what environment you grew up in. You get to go on the list. You get to be on the good list versus the bad list. And I don't think my youngest cares if she's on the good list or the bad list. And I'm having to really work that out, because I am very much a good list motivated person, and that's hard for me. So what I'm asking to do in this moment is to get into the moment, and that asking my guides to come through while I'm talking with you, so you can kind of see how it works through. And I hear a lot of giggling, and I'm going to grab a small piece of paper that I can write stuff down, because that is helpful. Let's see. I don't want to grab, oh, notebooks. Duh. I have 27 notebooks here. Let's do this. Because I have notebooks, we do notebooks. Here we go. Ah, yes. We'll talk about that another time. Okay. Got it. So we've got 4, 29, 25. Pardon my lack of preparedness. This is where we are. So the guidance kind of comes as I ask. I could be in the shower. I can be going for a walk. I can be going for a drive. I can be in the middle of a thing, and it's just boop, pops in. But it's times like this where I do attempt to tune in. And sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's harder, but I'm going to attempt it here as a practice. So I'm asking, what's going on with my little one? And how can I help? What do I need to know? Can guidance frame a better picture for me to function from and connect with her with? And the chuckles are from everything that I was saying before. And now I'm getting like this very kind, like, thank you for asking feeling of, oh, this is so wonderful. We're very excited to talk about this. Like, this is one of the cruxes of parenting, because you want your kids to be themselves, and you want your kids to, at the same time, do what you ask them to do, because you are moving at a speed and a pace with tabs and activities and requirements that have never been asked of parents before. And we're not going to take the moment to acknowledge and appreciate the mountains that you move and the feats that you accomplish on a regular and daily basis, because that's not where we're going right now. But do take a moment to recognize that in yourself when you are ready. To connect with your child in a way that is going to get their attention, because they don't want to hear from you if you're not on their level. So if they are flying high, autonomous, in their groove, talking to their inner self, listening to the guidance of the universe, they are asking, the universe is giving, they are in their groove at that channel, like, they're not going to hear you. And the running away is really them physically saying, I don't like what you've got on the news. Like, I don't like that channel. I don't like what you're playing. I don't like the song. I don't like the show. No, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm going to run away. And in my effort to maintain my good vibe, I'm going to laugh and giggle and squeal and do those things that are unintentionally glitching you, because you did them when you were little, and your parents did them when they were little, and their parents did them when they were little, in an attempt to maintain that happy vibe. And for so many generations, hundreds of generations, it has been literally beaten, shamed, and screamed at out of you. So the glitch is not your fault. The glitch is your brain's way of keeping you safe. I will sidebar that some people have talked about how your inner child is the one that keeps you safe when you have these moments, because they weren't safe when they did it. And so they're like, oh God, don't do that. That's going to be bad. And so you have that moment of wanting to stay safe. And it's really just that ingrained pattern asking for you to comply, because compliance has been for so long a safer method of functioning versus speaking loudly, speaking up, challenging the status quo, challenging authority, being a tall poppy, being your own person, and letting your light shine from the very, very, very foundation. To take this even further back, the very foundation of what glitches so many people is that babies are allowed to shine. Babies are allowed to bring in light. Babies are allowed to coo and giggle. And then they get big enough to start functioning like little people. And then they get big enough to start looking like little people. And your brain goes to a place of, this is a functioning person. They need to comply the way I have been taught to comply. And that means that they can't let their light shine. They can't giggle. They can't find the things that bring them joy. They are not empowered to stay in that place. And from that perspective, they're going to dim their light. They're going to find other ways of finding joy, and they're not going to share them from they're not going to share them in an outward way. They're going to share them in an inward way, which is why you have this inner child, if you will, because you're protecting that sacred space of being in your own way. And to not do that, and to let your children's light shine, and to let them be autonomous, and to let them listen to their guidance and trust that they are safe, and be the helper and not the controller, to be the support system that they ask for, because they want to be their own boss, and they know they're their own boss. They're not here to listen to anybody else at all, ever. They may be here to co-create, and they understand that, but they're not here to listen to anybody else tell them what to do. And our job from a parenting with intuition perspective is not to tell them what to do. We are here to help and to guide and to support their dreams with believing eyes. So to circle back on why they're running away, doing the thing, because you're not on their channel. You got to get on their radio station frequency. You got to get on their TV channel. You got to get on their satellite station. And that is our job as parents. That is an inside job for us to unglitch and expect less of our kids to comply with us, and for us to do, unfortunately more, to help support our kids be in their space. And when they're in their space and they feel good and they feel safe and they're comfortable, they will explore, which means they will push the boundaries, but they may not be prone from a long-term perspective of pushing those boundaries regularly, because there's no need to go there. And the question I hear instantly is, but what about the dopamine seekers? What about the people that have, the PDAs and the reverse autonomies and all the things? And what I'm hearing is that's going to evolve as society evolves, because there is so much external pressure. Think about all of the energy that you are hearing and feeling on a regular basis. There is an ask constantly. There is a narrative that you are running through no matter what you're doing. At the grocery store, at your job, in your house, in your relationships. What is that narrative that you are supposed to be and comply and do? And just those unspoken narratives out there of what us as people are to do to support the systems that have been in place for a long time and no longer function that way. Doesn't mean they still can't throw the radio. They are still playing the songs on the radio, but nobody likes that station anymore. But you can still hear it from an energetic perspective. So you got to kind of get really tuned in with your channel on what you're listening to. But their PDA, their rejection, their push, and I have a push as well. I push hard on a whole lot of things, is from that. They're pushing on that because they want the safe space. They want the supported space. They want the freedom to move about and know that it's working out. And so the pushing is a part of that response. And I hope that's clear enough to help you understand that they're not just responding to you as a person, as a parent. They're not responding to specifically your request all the time. They're responding to a general energetic request of compliance, of dimming your light, of shutting up, of becoming a gray zombie person that just consumes what they're told to consume, and they just be what the marketing machine has said for so long to be. And the marketing machine tells you to do all these things to be happy. We know that doesn't work because nobody's happy doing those things, first of all. And it's not what they want. They didn't come here to do that. None of us came here to do that. We may have explored it, but it's not what we came to become. And if we came to become that, the next step is to step out of it full circle. So having explained all that, does it help you judge your child less with what they're doing and have a bit of compassion, have a bit of understanding, and a bit of connection so that you can do a better, sorry, I'm distracted with my battery power. You can relate better with your kids when you're asking of them. You're coming to them not from a judgment, are you doing the thing? Ah! On the inside or on the outside. But you're coming from a place of, you're doing the thing. I understand why you're doing the thing. Can we talk about doing the thing? And all of that is energetic and it happens so fast, but you're coming from a place of, hey, can you help me? I'm curious. Can you come back here and help me understand? I have a question. Let's talk about this. And then you can function from there. And you're going to forget to do it. You're going to forget to do it 9 times out of 10 as you start. You're going to do it once and you're like, okay, how did that work out? And if you're around folks that influence your energy differently or their energy differently, it may not work out the way we're talking about it right now. So it takes practice and it takes building that muscle and it takes building the knowing that when you're functioning from that energetic space and listening to that, what's going on here? Oh, it doesn't work. It's with the ladybug. I have an ant crawling on my thing. So be kind to yourself when you forget those things, because you're going to forget. And then you're going to come around, which is why we have these videos here for you to remember and come to regularly as the kind reminders. And we're now 18 minutes in, and that's okay. We can have a long one, and I can snip it down and to make a short one. And so you can have a quick little bloop if you need a little reminder. But be kind to yourself. Be kind to your little ones or your big little ones, because they are working out the autonomy and they are asking so desperately, as we all are as grown-ups, they're asking so desperately to let their light shine. And when we ask them to do something that is not of their interest or in the moment joy, they may feel like you're asking them to turn down their light. And that's not what you're asking. You're asking them to just come over here a little bit and stay closer to me in the parking lot a bit and maybe leave mommy's garden supplies alone a little bit, or maybe those little things. And that doesn't mean they have to dim their light. They can still have wonder and curiosity and all those things, but we're going to help direct that a little bit more with them based off their interest and our interest. And that is where the conversation is going. So as I sit here, I get to practice this too and see where it goes and how does it work and kind of report on it. And I want to hear what your scenarios and situations are and how you have and have not practiced this and what happened when you did and didn't practice, coming to a place of meeting their energetic channel and asking them to redirect energetically and speaking to them in a different energetic frequency. And I understand that's kind of hard to translate into what that is because everybody kind of does it differently, but you just kind of practice. I think of like when actors have to turn it on and be a different emotion or a different person or like a whole different scene. They've got to find that energy and pull it out. And some people are genuinely there and some people are pretending and they just make it look really good. Same thing when an opera singer is starting really low and doing their warm-ups and they do the warm-ups and they're starting low and they go high and eventually they're doing a broader range of notes in their warm-up because they can, but they started small. So we're not going to go from having a feral child that has 120,000% autonomy and 0 Fs for anything I say to them to do everything I ask of them obediently. Like, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking for them to just pause or to connect, finding that connection first, the acknowledgement energetically of that conversation, and then you can go from there. So let me know how this works. Let me know how this feels for you, because I'm having to work out this. My oldest does not do this so much. So this is kind of a new, I've got two kind of polar opposite kids. So I get the spectrum of experience in a variety of ways. And that is what I'm here to do, to share with you so we can have these conversations. But it is also an interesting roller coaster for me to then look at my stuff and unglitch and tune in energetically and not have any judgment for what I was taught, where I've been, what my parents and teachers and those types of people asked of me as I was growing up and developing, or as an adult in a career and things like that, or in a relationship. If you're in a marriage and you have in-laws, there's a lot of narratives and conversations on what that is. And it takes sometimes some time to feel comfortable saying no or doing it differently and trying to mix up the narrative so that you're not repeating what you did or what your family has done or what the expert in the podcast is telling you to do. What am I like to explain? When you go to a dietitian and they say you can't eat anything but this is your menu and you're only eating this. And I have a hard time with that because I know that that's not a one-size-fits-all type thing. And I'm not trying to make a one-size-fits-all thing. I'm asking from a place of functioning. What, love? I am very excited to hear your questions and to kind of take this a little further. And that helps me tune in a little bit more to be clearer with this, because I know it's a thing. And I know a lot of parents struggle with this. And how do we navigate connecting with our kids in a way that they feel that the light shines, they can maintain autonomy, they get to control their space and their due, while we are also with them, guiding them to maintain autonomy and maintain wonder and keep their light shining while managing the sanity of what we're asking while we're managing all the 17 tabs too. And another conversation for another day is, are the tabs really our heart-based tabs, or are they tabs from our shouty brain or narratives from other folks? We'll talk about that another time. So thank you for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful. Please share your thoughts. I'm very excited to dig into this more.